Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So, nagging me pays off. Thank you to all those people who have dropped comments in the comment section of all the videos in this series so far. Many of you asking for Aston Villa. So I decided that after reading those comments I would do Aston Villa Football Club in this football or soccer ASMR facts and history video, where we do a deep dive using Wikipedia to look at different clubs around the world. In this series, which I'm trying to complete, we're doing the Premier League, but I've done loads of German clubs, Dutch clubs, Spanish, etc. So check those out as well. Today though, we're looking at Aston Villa, and I really hope you enjoy the video. Let's learn a little bit about this really famous and big club. Aston Villa Football Club, commonly referred to as Villa, is a professional football club based in Aston, Birmingham, England. The club competes in the Premier League, the top tier of the English Football League system. Founded in 1874, they have played at their home ground, Villa Park, since 1897. Aston Villa is one of the oldest and most successful clubs in England, having won the Football League First Division 7 times, the FA Cup 7 times, the League Cup 5 times, and the European Cup and European Super Cup once. Apologies if you can hear the wind in the background. It's like 25-mile-per-hour winds in July. Welcome to Wales. Aston Villa has been a leading English club since the 1880s, renowned for their short, quick combination passing, and Scotsman George Ramsay, who was appointed as the world's first professional football manager in 1886. The club was influential in the sport's move to professionalism in 1885, and it was a Villa director, William McGregor, who founded the world's first football league in 1888. George Ramsay's trophy haul of 6 league championships and 6 FA Cups established Aston Villa as the most successful club in England, a position it held from the 1890s until the 1970s. Villa scored 128 goals in season 1930-31, which remains the all-time top-flight record. However, the club began its first decline in the mid-1930s. The 40s and 50s was generally a period of mediocrity, followed by a steep decline in the 1960s, which culminated in a takeover of the club by Doug Ellis in 1968. And Villa's first and only relegation to the third tier of English football in 69-70. Villa returned to the elite from the mid-70s under manager Ron Saunders, who led the club to a 7th top-flight league title in 80-81. They became only the 4th English club to win the European Cup in 1981-82. It's a good year, 82. Followed by the European Super Cup in 1982. Let's look at this info first. So it looks like they've changed the badge recently. It just says Aston Villa. It looks like it's gone back to the more classic one. Aston Villa Football Club full name: the Villains and the Lions. Short name Villa. 149 years ago, was founded in 1874. Ground is Villa Park. Capacity 42,657. We'll take a look at that in a second. Owners are Nassef Sawiris and Wes Edens. Chairman is also Sawiris. Currently, Unai Emery is the head coach. And last year they finished an impressive 7th to get European football, ahead of Spurs, I believe. Let's take a look at Villa Park. Villa Park is a football stadium in Aston, Birmingham, with a seating capacity of 42,657, and it's been the home of Aston Villa since 1897. The ground is less than a mile from both Whitton and Aston railway stations, and has hosted 16 England internationals at senior level. It's a shot inside. The Holt end. Oh wow, the grey used to look like incredible. Can't even imagine a stadium in England looking like that anymore. It reminds me of South American football stadiums, that does. With the high sides sloping. Douglas Stand, North Stand, Holt End, and Trinity Road Stand. Okay. Aston Villa was a founding member of the Premier League in 1992. One of just 3 clubs to have been founding members of both the Football League and the Premier League. The club regularly qualified for European football in the 90s, but following a period in which the club struggled to compete with the high levels of spending of the leading clubs, Doug Ellis sold his stake in the club to American billionaire Randy Lerner, whose ownership of the club ended with Villa's first and only relegation from the Premier League in the season 2015-16. The club returned to the Premier League in 2019. During its history, Villa has spent 109 seasons in the top flight, the second highest of any club, and provided 76 England internationals, also the second highest of any club. Aston Villa is currently ranked 5th in the all-time English top flight table since its creation in 1888, and is the 7th most successful club in English football by competitive honours. The very famous claret and blue. Villa have a fierce local rivalry with Birmingham City, and a second city derby between the teams has been played, and the second city derby between the teams has been played since 1879. There is also a local rivalry with West Bromwich Albion, and matches between the sides known as the West Midlands Derby. The club's traditional kit and colours are claret shirts with sky blue sleeves, white shorts and sky blue socks. Their traditional club badge is of a rampant lion. The club is currently owned by the NSWE Group, a company owned by the Egyptian billionaire Nassef Sawiris and the American billionaire Wes Edens. Okay, so what I usually do with the history is I read the first bit and then skip the middle and go straight to recent times. Then we look at the current squad and their club honours, and then we'll call it a day there, and hopefully you'll be relaxed or even fast asleep by that time. Formation and rise to prominence. 1874 to 1886. Aston Villa Football Club were formed in March 1874 by members of the Villa Cross Wesleyan Chapel in Handsworth, which is now part of Birmingham. The 4 founders of Aston Villa were Jack Hughes, Frederick Matthews, Walter Prince and William Scattergood, who were members of the Chapel's cricket team, very common in England, looking for a way to stay fit during the winter months. For cricket. Due to the lack of local football teams, Aston Villa's first match was against the local Aston Brook St Mary's rugby team. As a condition of the match, the Villa side had to agree to play the first half under rugby rules and the second half under association rules. Villa won their first game 1-0. The entire concept is bizarre. The infant club's fortunes changed forever when a young Scotsman called George Ramsay stumbled across the Villa players' practice match in Aston Park in 1876. He was asked to make up the numbers, and they were amazed by his skills. They had never seen such a display of close ball control before. When the game was over, the Villa players surrounded him and invited him to join the club and become their captain. Word spread about how fine a player Ramsay was. Spectators began turning up to watch the little man named Scotty. He also took charge of training. Ramsay later described the newly formed club's approach to the game as a dash at the man and a big kick at the ball. Ramsey was influenced by the Scottish club Queen's Park, who pioneered what became known as combination football in his native Glasgow. The intricate passing game he introduced was a revolutionary move for the English club in the late 1870s. Villa began to establish themselves as one of the best teams in the Midlands, winning their first honour, the Birmingham Senior Cup in 1880. The club would go on to lift the trophy 9 times in the next 12 seasons. Victorian and Edwardian Golden Age. Following the professionalism of football in 1885, the club decided that it needed a full-time paid manager. The following advert was placed in the Birmingham Daily Gazette newspaper in June 1886. Wanted, manager for Aston Villa Football Club, who will be required to devote his whole time under direction of the committee. Salary £100 per annum. Applications with reference must be made not later than June 23rd to Chairman of the Committee, Aston Villa Clubhouse, 6 Witton Road, Aston. Villa received 150 applicants for the role, but with his strong association with the club, George Ramsey was the overwhelming choice of the membership. Thus, on the 26th of June 1886, Aston Villa appointed what has been described as the world's first professional football manager. The following season, Aston Villa rose to national prominence as the first Midlands team to win the FA Cup in 1887. Villa's captain, the powerful Scottish centre-forward Archie Hunter, became one of the game's first household names, being the first player to score in every round of the FA Cup. Aston Villa were one of the dozen teams that competed in the inaugural Football League in 1888, with one of the club's directors, William McGregor, being the league's founder. Lots of Scottish people involved in this club. Following the professionalisation of football in 1885, clubs needed regular income to pay their players' wages. Frequently, friendlies were cancelled due to the opponent's FA Cup or County Cup matches, or clubs simply failed to honour a fixture in favour of a more lucrative match elsewhere. McGregor took action after seeing Villa matches cancelled, to the increasing frustration of the club's fans, on 5 consecutive Saturdays. In March 1888, he wrote to the committee of his own club, Aston Villa, as well as to those of Blackburn Rovers, Bolton Wanderers, Preston North End and West Bromwich Albion, suggesting the creation of a league competition that would provide a number of guaranteed fixtures for its member clubs each season. Following 2 meetings between representatives of the leading clubs, the world's first Football League season began in September 1888, with 12 member clubs from the Midlands and north of England. Accrington, Aston Villa, Blackburn Rovers, Bolton Wanderers, Burnley, Derby County, Everton, Notts County, Preston North End, Stoke, West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Despite Villa founding the league, by 1893 they'd yet to win it. Villa committee member Frederick Rinder was the instigator of a club meeting at Barrack Street in February 1893 that removed the committee running the club at the time. All 14 committee members resigned and were replaced by a committee of 5 led by Rinder after he gave a rousing speech criticising the board's tolerance of ill discipline and players drinking. On the pitch, manager George Ramsey was moulding a team that became renowned for its short, quick combination passing, which saw Villa win its first league title in 93-94. The season after that, the club won its second FA Cup in 1894-95. This was followed by back-to-back league titles in 95-96 and 1896-97. Aston Villa emerged as the most successful club of the Victorian era, winning no fewer than 5 league titles and 3 FA Cups by the end of Queen Victoria's reign in 1901. Villa's captain during this era was Birmingham-born John Devey, who enjoyed a successful partnership with the lightning-fast winger Charlie Athersmith, and marshalling Villa's defence was the tough-tackling Scotsman James Cowan, who had an unrivaled sense of timing and anticipation. In 1897, the Villa won the double. They moved into their present home, the Aston Lower Grounds. Supporters coined the name Villa Park. No official declaration listed in the ground. No official declaration listed the ground as Villa Park. Success continued into the Edwardian era, with Villa lifting the FA Cup for the fourth time in 1904-05 and a sixth league title in 1909-10. A further FA Cup triumph was achieved on the eve of First World War in 1913, with the club narrowly missing out on winning a second double, finishing runners-up in the league. Star players during this era included Howard Spencer, the cultured defender who captained both Villa and England, and the prolific strike force of John Bash and Harry Hampton, who between them scored 382 goals in claret and blue. Okay, such a long history, can't read it all. Okay, let's read this bit here. In 2016, Aston Villa created a registered charity, the Aston Villa Foundation. The aim of the charity is to deliver the social responsibility work of Aston Villa. Working alongside key local and national stakeholders, the foundation delivers projects such as football in the community, disability health and well-being, education, interventions and community relations. In May 2021, Prince William, then Duke of Cambridge, now Prince of Wales, met with members of the foundation at Aston Villa's Bodymore Health Training Ground. This was following the foundation providing 1,000 hot meals a week to local organisations during the COVID pandemic, as well as allowing a local NHS trust to make use of Villa Park's facilities. We talked about their rivalries. Okay, let's look at their honours, of which there are many. First Division Premier League, winners 7 times, runners-up, it doesn't say, but there's quite a lot. Second Division, First Division, now known as the Championship, winners twice, runners-up twice, playoff winners once. Cups, the FA Cup, 7 wins of that, runners-up on 4 occasions. They've won the Football League Cup, known as the EFL Cup, 5 times as well. They won the FA Charity Shield once, and the Sheriff of London Charity Shield twice. In Europe, they have a European Cup, which is now considered to be the UEFA Champions League, 1 time. The Super Cup, 1 time, and the Intertoto Cup, 1 time as well, and joint winners on a 2nd occasion. Okay, before we finish, let's look at the current squad. World Cup winning Emiliano Martinez is the vice-captain in goals, Matty Cash. Lots of internationals here, Diego Carlos, Esri Konsa, Tyrone Mings, Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, Yuri Tielemans. Oh, they bought Tielemans from Leicester, have they? I missed that. Bertrand Traoré, Emiliano Buendia, Ollie Watkins, new signing Pau Torres, Alex Moreno, Callum Chambers, Marvelous Nakamba, John Duran, Philippe Coutinho, Robin Olsen, Luca Digne, Courtney Hauser, Leon Bailey, Leander Den Donker, Cameron Archer, Viliami Sinisalo, Kanan Davis, Jacob Ramsey, Boubacar Kamara, Tim Irueg Bunam, and looks like new signings without numbers yet, Morgan Sanson, good player, Jaden Philogene, and Wesley Moraes. Awesome. Sandy Gray there. So, there's Unai Emery, the current manager. So, it's time for you to get your nag in. Comment which club shall I do next. I do read all your comments and I take them on board, so it doesn't have to be a Premier League club, it can be a non-Premier League club as well. I'm open to all. And keep nagging and I'll get it done eventually. But today, this was Aston Villa. And if you enjoyed the video, click like and subscribe if this is the first time you're watching my channel for lots of videos like this again in the future. Take care everyone. Bye 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 bye.